Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to give a moment here to make sure that all the streaming is all live. Let us know in the chat if you are here, where you're joining us from. We would love to hear from you. Welcome back to the show. My name is Jennifer, and my guest today is Rebel. That is her real name, and I have serious name envy. So, Rebel, why don't you say hi?
Hello.
I'm excited to have you. I didn't realize that was your God-given name was Rebel. I love it. I even wore kind of like an edgy shirt. So I'm like, okay, with a name like Rebel, I have to bring my game because Jennifer is as boring as it gets.
Yeah, I always say I was a product of the 60s, but not really. I mean, I am a product of the 60s, but my mother's high school mascots were the Rebels.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome. That's just a fun name. And that's what I did with my kids, is I made sure to give them fun names because
mm,
being Jennifer and then just very boring. Like the number one name of 1984, and that's the one she picked. Couldn't get any more boring. All right, Christopher, welcome. Excited to have you. So while we're waiting for everyone to hop in, why don't you kind of give us a gist of who you are, what you do, how long you've been reselling, maybe how you got started?
I got started. I was watching the Rosie O'Donnell show back in 1999, and she mentioned this thing called eBay, and I just had to go check into it. And so I've been on eBay for 24 years, been selling since then, and just uh, I I've grown from it. I used to take my boys. I have 5 boys. 2 of them are adults, and then I have 3 that are 22, 21, and 18. And I used to take them out yard selling just to get out of the house and do stuff with them, and we'd go find toys, and then all of a sudden my mind started like, ooh, I could sell that stuff on eBay. And that's what I started doing way back when. And then I kind of, because I had kids, it went from toys, and then all of a sudden I was kind of specializing in stuffed animals. But I've expanded in the last couple of years because I realized you can't just be so niched
Right,
down. You got to have lots of different things to sell to get different buyers into your store.
right. That is crazy. 24 years. Like,
Mhm.
wow, that's incredible. How long have you been doing it full time for?
Uh-oh. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, how long have you been doing it full time for?
I was full time for a while, and then I went back to teaching for a couple of years. And then I realized even part timing it, I was making more than I was as a teacher. So I decided to go ahead and, get back into full time. And then I got bored and I went and worked for the state. And then I met my husband, and it was like, you know what? We can do this. We can do this full time, have the life that we want. And so
Yeah.
that's what we did. So this round has been about 10 years that this is our
Wow.
primary income. We both stay home, we both work the business. He does homeschooling, which we're down to 1. And then he's very into, my husband and my stepson are into martial arts. So they spend a whole lot of time doing martial arts.
That's awesome. Super, super cool. I was gonna say something and then I forgot. So if it comes back, I'll I didn't want to interrupt you, but let's
I
see
see my
here.
friends.
First,
I've got Tone and Tian Pickers and Harley are all here.
yay, welcome. So excited to have some new faces.
We love tea and
Harley,
pickers. They're the ones we
welcome.
had dinner with tonight.
All right. Adios. Thank you. Harley, that's another fun name. If that's your given name, that's another fun one. Robert,
Definitely.
welcome.
There's my honey.
I'm so grateful I found her channel. I made a lot of money following her advice. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's about stuffed animals. And now I should keep a notepad so as I'm thinking and I don't want to interrupt, I can write it down. That's all right. So, how are or were the kids involved in the business? Now that your husband's doing it with you, do the kids help at all?
Well, I have our stepson comes with us on a lot of our trips. We do these sourcing trips where we take our trailer and we go somewhere and we shop till we fill our trailer. And then I have inventory as kind of like backup. So his name's RJ. RJ comes with us a lot for that.
Okay.
But he
How far do you
claims
go?
we go to Missouri and Indianapolis.
Ooh,
Like we're
wow.
getting ready
Big,
to do
big
some
trip.
of these huge yard sales that are in our region. But we do that a couple of times a year. I enjoy that. We go to a Goodwill bins for days and just shop, 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 shop. But
How fun.
RJ says he's going to start working for me because I asked him, he's 15, and I asked him,
Hmm.
does he want to get a job? And he's like, I think I'd rather come work for you. But our long-term plan for him is to teach him how to do my shipping so I don't have to do vacation while
There
we
you
do
go.
our trips. So,
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, my 8-year-old tries to help a little bit. The 3-year-old not as much, but I could see them being helpers, helping pull orders, help pull boxes. Like, yeah, I need a little helper. And cheap labor, I'll take it. Oh,
yep.
I remember my comment now. It was about the teaching and how awful that is that teachers absolutely make garbage. They do not make enough. And it blows my mind that you make more reselling than you ever did teaching. And it's sad. That's like,
Mm-hmm. And
that's good for you, but sad
many,
for
many of them
teachers.
have 4 and 5 and 6, years of education, and they just
Yeah.
don't get paid well.
Oh, it's awful. My niece actually just graduated with her bachelor's of education. She's going straight into her master's, but instead of the teaching route, she's going to go into the counseling route.
Right.
So start as an elementary teacher, and then once she's done with her master's, she's not going to be in a classroom because yeah, they don't make enough. It's awful. And then being in Arizona, the least paid, worst educated state in the country, it doesn't give you much goals and ambitions to want to teach here. uh, let's see. I scribble about the turkey at the yard sale. Oh, I got to hear
Uh,
this.
there's a video on it and there's a short on it, but I live in Tennessee, you know, we went to a yard sale and there was a turkey as a pet at the yard sale, and it decided it loved me and it followed me all over this yard. And every time I'd be, digging for something, and I'd look up and he'd be like right there. And then he would gobble at me. And it
Oh my
ends up
gosh.
being a hilarious video. Hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll have to find it. How long ago was it?
Last summer.
Video.
Last summer.
Okay. I'll do some digging because that sounds hilarious. My turkey experience was not as fun. It was back in elementary school. It was like sixth grade. We were on this, they called it outdoor lab. I'm from Colorado, and you used to go, it was a week-long trip in, I want to say sixth, maybe seventh grade. And you're up in these cabins in the mountains. And we went on a hike, and there was this gaggle of turkeys. What do you call a group of turkeys? A group of turkeys, and they started chasing us down the mountain. So yeah, these ones were not kind, and I was terrified. So now I don't like wild turkeys. No
Yeah.
way. If I see a turkey, I'm running.
Yeah, that was turkey. Oh, it was scary
I
for
thought it was
me.
fake until I started following Rebel.
I'm
Oh my
little.
goodness.
That turkey was almost as big as me.
Wow. Yeah, no thank you. Hey. What would you say? So you'd said toys. What
Toys.
else would be your favorite niche and one that you wish you knew more about?
My favorite thing is vintage plush. That's what I go for. I'm trying to
Okay.
save them. I do really well with them because, a lot of people go on eBay looking for that favorite plush from their childhood and they want a
Yep.
replacement one for their child.
Yep.
It's just something I've always strove for, is to try to find as many of them as I can when I go to the bins.
Oh,
So
fun.
that's my favorite. But I love Fisher Price. So since I started my channel, I started with one toy on this wall, and now the wall is overflowing. But
Oh
that's
my
just
goodness.
tons of Fisher-Price that I remember as a child, and I'm trying to get lots of examples of stuff up there.
Yep. So is that just a display wall or are those listed?
No, every once in a while somebody will go, "Will you please sell me this thing?" And so I'll pull it and list it. But yeah, for now they're just for me to enjoy.
Enjoy. How fun. And maybe future grandkids. Do you have any grandkids yet?
I do. I have 4 already. I have
Oh, how old are they?
2 in New York are, I want to say 13 and 10, I hope. And then I have 2 in Ohio, and I'm terrible. I think one is about to turn 5. My youngest is about to turn 5.
Okay.
And I can't remember. I think she's 10. Araya is
Okay.
10.
Still young. That's awesome. How
Yes.
fun. Fun. Well, I guess the second part of that last question, is there a niche that you wish you knew more about?
Probably we're into clothes now. We just started clothes in the last 2 years. I'd like to know more. I'd like
Okay.
to find the higher dollar stuff and just, be able to find them more easily instead of spending all that time looking stuff up.
Yes.
So clothes is
Yep.
probably my next thing I'd like to learn a lot about.
Yeah. There's something about the confidence. Once you know, like with you and the Fisher Price, you instantly know what to grab for. Or with the plush, you instantly know what to grab for. And like, yeah, it'd be nice to know in clothing or in glassware and other specialty jewelry. I am dying to learn jewelry for that same reason. I am always inundated with tables of jewelry at sales and estate sales, and I don't even know where to start. So I'm learning. I'm trying to learn, but I'm supposed to have a live with Lily Works. Rachel, she is like a jewelry expert, and I sent her a tub of jewelry. We're gonna dig through it together, and she's going to teach me a thing or two. So
That'll
I'll
be
share
good.
my experience. What is your favorite way to source? Bins, garage sales, estate sales?
I like all of them, but I think my favorite thing to do is when we do our trips. We go, like, the last couple of ones have been to St. Louis because my husband's from Missouri, so we get to go
Mm-hmm.
visit with family, but then we go to the bins, spend 6, 7, 8 hours there several days in a row and
Wow.
just pick and pick and pick until you're so tired of picking that you're good to go for another 3 or 4 months. But I love
Wow.
estate sales because that's where I find more unique things. And like I just recently purchased a huge estate sale lot of vintage plush where everything was mint with its original tags, some of it in its original boxes, all of it from
How
like
did
the
you hide
80s.
your excitement?
Oh, I didn't. I did not. I ended up getting a
Oh,
private
wow.
pick. So it ended up being very fun. And I hope I've made the connection with that company, but they'll contact me in the future when they have huge lots like that again.
That's awesome. I think that is the key to scaling this business is getting those little relationships. And I've got a few of them local that they'll call me, "Oh, I've got a sale this weekend. I'm at the house and from 10 to 2, come by." And I'll be able to go by and see what they have before anyone else. And they like it because they're clearing inventory. I love it because there's no competition and I can take my time and they're just super friendly. And I want to get more of those.
Right.
More of
Yes,
the personal relationships that they can call.
definitely.
That is the key. What is your favorite thing about this business?
I think because we've gotten to a level now where, we're both self-employed, we're able to stay home. I love our life. We vacation when we want. We do these trips and I
That is so
enjoy the
awesome.
freedom that this has allowed us to do. I think that's
Yes,
that's
yes,
the
yes.
best.
Do you just put your store on vacation or how do you stop shipping?
Yeah, I have I had a terrible experience in December putting my store on vacation. All of a sudden stuff was selling and giving me by normal 1-day handling. I
Oh,
don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a glitch. So this last trip, which was a couple of weeks ago, we were out for a week and I did the extended handling,
yeah.
and my sales weren't as great. I had to take the time to send people messages all the time saying I am on vacation, because
Right.
it's not as prominent when all you've done is extend. I messed up one day and I sold 6 things that needed to be shipped sooner than I was going to be home. So just user error. So
Right.
I think from now on, if I have to do it, I'll do the time away again, and hopefully there won't be another glitch like I got last time.
Yeah, I tried the vacation mode or time away once, and I felt like it definitely killed sales after I came back. Like they knew, like they punished you almost for taking that vacation. So more recently, if I take a trip that my husband doesn't go, if I'm going with my sister and kids, I'll just do the extended like 2 or 3 day shipping. They give him time to pull orders while he's still working. But yeah, I don't do the vacation mode anymore. It scares me. And if you're already, yeah, showing sales that should have gone through, and I've heard horror things about the vacation mode. Let me pop over to comments over here. Collection manager for Hyundai, 40 hours a week, work from home, able to work 9 to 5, and also list at the same time. There you go. 2 birds with 1 stone. That's awesome. Great way to work. Absolutely. Ooh, we've got Chrissy here. Welcome. I picked up some necklaces at a yard sale. They're mostly Avon. There's one Nolan Miller sold for $70. See, I wouldn't even know that. Like I did pick up a brooch. So that's what Lily Works talks about, is a lot of those like brooches that are just apparently coming back. And it did have a name on it. So if it's signed by somebody, I grab it if it's cheap enough. And I think it was $1 or $2. So I'll grab those, but unless it's specifically marked, I don't know what to grab. Aw, thank you, Chrissy. All right, what else we got here? That was a nice find. Wish I knew about jewelry. Yep,
Yep.
exactly. What I need to learn, and she's told me before, I just need to like embed it, was the if it's 925, I think that's sterling. But then the gold, if it doesn't say 24 or 14, like there was something today that was 24 karat gold plated or gold coated or something. But I looked it up and it wasn't even worth anything. So I don't think gold plated means anything other than it's shiny. That's exactly what I said last year when I did way is like being punished. Yes, flipping for change. That is so, so true. So I'm just going to extend the time. Even if it is a week, I'll just extend it to 5 days because you don't ship on the weekend. Then it at least buys you a long weekend. This is the place to share last night when I was dropping stuff off the storage unit, threw some trash out. Something was staring at me at the dumpster. Took a box and took ... I'm guessing off. Yeah. I live in a desert, so if I hear any kind of rustling, I run. I went to go put a patio light in the backyard, and this is like we're at the peak of snake season, rattlesnake season. And technically they're out year round, but they tend to peak out more right now. We're about to get monsoons, and that really gets them out. So I don't like having to watch for rattlesnakes. And I went outside to put a light in the ground, and I heard rustling in the trees, and I got out of there as fast as I could. Could probably see the smoke behind me. Oh, I don't know hardly anything about jewelry. Learning by doing. Yeah, and that's with
Yep.
so many niches. That's how I've learned golf clubs, was just by buying them. That's how I've learned so many different things. It's just buy it, spend 20, 30, $40 on it, the cheapest education you can get, and learn about it. That's the best thing you can do, which is why I have 2 buckets of jewelry to dig through. Handful of costume jewelry, assorted sterling silver box chain, a vintage size Napier charm bracelet, and a Florenza faux pearl necklace.
All
Wow.
in the
I didn't think
trash.
of tools too. Like the one, like a magnet, so you could tell the gold from the plastic. There's something for the pearls, so that maybe, or she rubbed it against her tooth. That was a thing, because I guess real pearls are gritty, So if you rub it against your tooth, which ew, but if you rub it against your tooth, it's supposed to you should feel the grit. And if it's smooth, then it's fake. I don't know. Something like that. But I don't think I'll put someone's used jewelry in my mouth. It's
No.
the morning after. Yes. Yeah, that's crazy. Just all in the trash. That is nuts. Nuts. Someone had a trash post or a curb post yesterday, but I saw it when it was 4 hours later. So of course it was gone. It was a Guitar Hero rock band drum set. Like, oh my gosh, I want that. But I didn't see the message till 4 hours later. Hey, when that happens. All right. Oop, I asked that one already. What is your biggest pet peeve that you deal with?
Walking into a yard sale and they have eBay pictures
And it's
all
always
over.
the listing, never the what sold. It's the listings.
Yes.
Yes.
Or you go to a yard, it's advertised as a yard sale and it's the pallet people or the coupon people, and just,
Yep.
you've driven, for us, we drive a lot to go to the places that we go to. And it's
Yep.
like, really, pet peeves for sure. Or you
Yep.
follow
There's
a
a
sign
couple.
and it's old.
Yeah, that's a bug for sure. Yep. The pallet ones or the ones that buy the storage units, they have the same exact sign. So I start recognizing it. Like there's one, he's made like a totem pole and there's like a sun and then it says sale with the arrow and then another sun printed on it. He uses the same ones every week. So I know not to follow that sign because like I know where I'm going and it's all pallet stuff. Usually he does a lot of big household like vacuums and ceiling fans and like no. And he wants eBay prices. Always.
Yes.
Yes. All right, now the fun stuff. What has been your best and your worst buy or flip that you can remember? I mean, we're going back 24 years, so.
Probably one of my kind of favorite bests, only because I have this love-hate thing with Boyd's Bears. They're just around here. Everybody thinks they're really worth a whole lot of money, and they put these really tall, high prices on them. And I don't pick them up very much. But one time I was at an estate sale, and for me, I'm frugal. I don't spend a whole lot of stuff on a whole lot of money for stuff. But they had a Boyd's Bear calendar laid out, so it was, each little bear was for each month, and they actually had the holder and everything. I think it was a QVC thing, but it was $30, and I really wasn't finding comps on it, but I decided to go ahead and get it. Something just, when you get that, I walked away, I looked at other stuff, and something said, get it, just pay the money and get it. And I went ahead and auctioned it because there was nothing out there, nowhere on WorthPoint, nowhere on Google where it was all of them. I could find individual ones. So I auctioned it, which I don't recommend doing auctions except for situations like this. But it ended up selling, I think, to somebody in Japan. But it went for like $500 and some dollars. So it was very fun.
So you mentioned with auctions. So how often do you do auctions? Is it pretty rare?
Very rare. Very. Probably, I mean, if I know how to research, and if I can't find something on it, and I truly have a gut feeling that it's worth something, I'll try auctioning it. But usually that doesn't even work.
It doesn't usually end well for me.
No,
I usually get a lot less than what I want for it,
or you don't get anything.
Yeah, what stinks with auctions is you're narrowing your window to 5 or 7 days, and you're hoping the buyer sees it in that 5 or 7 days. And some stuff like that, it takes a special person looking for it. That if you just narrow that time frame, you're just much smaller chance of getting what you want for it.
Yeah.
Yes, 30 into 500. Nice ROI. Yes, I'd say.
Yes.
For sure.
For a plush.
And what about your worst buy that you can think of?
Like we went to an estate sale one time and just picked up a whole bunch of knickknack stuff. I don't know what I was thinking. You get into that, but it's only a quarter. It might,
Yes.
and it's vintage. It says Japan on it. And so I bought a whole bunch of it, and not worth the effort, not worth the time. I did list some of it, and dang it, if we weren't over in our building a couple weeks ago trying to move something. I have a huge storage building that I put everything in, and Robert accidentally hit the box that had all of them in it and knocked it to the floor and broke
Oh
almost
no.
everything. So it really ended up being the worst buy ever.
Oh man, I bet that was in slow motion as that box fell.
It was, yeah, and then just the breakables, everything. I think I ended up with like 3 things out of the whole box, and most of them were supposed to be with something. So the other part of
Oh,
it, yeah, just
that's awful.
just say no to Homco and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's funny when you're in the moment, the things that I'll buy, and then I'll take it home and be like, why did I buy that? Like you were just like said, like, oh, it's so cheap. So I bought maybe 2 months ago now, it was a huge tote, like the biggest tote that totes can sell, and it was full of vintage toys. So we had all the Masters of the Universe, Ninja Turtles, She-Ra, He-Man. Wow, so many of them. So it was $10.
Dang.
If you're gonna sit here. So it was $10 for this tote, and it has just so much stuff. And I've listed a few things, like the ones that were worth the most. I've already made probably $500 on this tote, but it was it's still a full tote. Even taking the good stuff out, it still has all the like the play sets. You're too noisy.
I know. What do you want to do, dude? I should have not given 5 minutes.
You're supposed to wait to the end to give him the candy. uh, all right, hold on. I missed a comment in
I
here.
have the
wanted to
same. I bought a
post.
huge tote of Monster High dolls. They have been
So
the
much
bane of my.
work.
Oh my gosh, they're sitting in my living room floor on a yoga
Yeah.
mat. And I've picked up maybe 6 of them, and I have 40 of them, and it's like,
Wow. I'm tempted to
never.
lot it up now. I'm tempted just to everything that's left, just do one lot. I'm not going to auction it. I'll just have to come up with some random number and then take offers and just try to get it out of there. There's one person that wanted the little mini comic books that came with some of the figures. I wanted to keep it as a set because some of the figures had its book, so I want to sell them together. But now that I've gone through the figures, I think these are extra books, so I need to message him and just sell those separate. But everything else, I'm tempted just to lot it because the less I see it, the happier I'm gonna be. Because
Yeah.
seeing it is more annoying. All right, we got an awesome tip here. You can also rub the 2 pearls together and tell it that way. But use ones closest to the clasp that can scratch them. Okay, so you don't see it if it's closer to the clasp. Genius, and I'll save my teeth. All right, let's see. We've got probably the fedora I bought.
Oh, yeah, that's my husband. He bought a fedora hat at an estate sale for $4. Just knew it was something. Just knew, and I think it was worth $3. Just it's here somewhere because I will never let him forget.
Yeah. I hate that today was one of them where if you're at a sale, they're not busy and they're sitting there talking to you. So I want to be friendly. I'm talking to the guy, but then he's showing me these WWE, but it's not WWE. It's a different wrestling series of these brand new wrestlers, and they wanted $5 each. I'm like, all right, what harm is that? So I buy them. I get home, they're barely worth the $5, but it's because he was talking to me and distracting me. So he got what he wanted, which was quick sales, and I'm the sucker that bought them. All right, Tony, we got a question here. Saw a video on shipping. Once I sent an item UPS from USPS without telling the buyer they were rural or something where UPS could not deliver. That was no good. Yes. So a message now after that. There was one time that if it's USPS and they don't take the packages, usually it won't, or no, if they want USPS and I try to ship it UPS, it'll say that I can't. It's like grayed out, like a P.O. box or one of those. But as far as the rural one, I think I got a message one time where they said that, yeah, it's like one mailbox and a cluster of hundreds of them because it's like one dirt road that goes to everybody. So, yeah, there was one time I did get a message, but I ship UPS and FedEx hundreds of times without an issue. Let's see. And buy is always exciting. The later reality sets in. So true. So true. And you're on a high when you're buying it. Like, just so excited that you got this great deal. Then you get home, you're like, oh man, it wasn't that great of a deal. And now I've got to do the work. Very, very true. The Monster High don't stop Rebel every day when you walk past them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Center of
That's
my
funny.
living room floor.
Up so that they stare at you as you walk by. Put one in the bathroom, put one in the hallway. They'll just say hi to you everywhere they go. They do well. I've picked up a lot of Monster High in my day, and they've done well. But you always I get some salty people with them. That one is probably a pretty salty bunch where I had a sourcing video and I had showed that I was getting this doll for like $3 and I had the most hate comments about leave it for others, save it for collectors, and it's because of you that the market is so or so expensive. And like, it wasn't me. It would have been the guy next to me if it wasn't me. So
Right.
I think that there's such a niche with those Monster Highs that they're ready to attack if you don't keep them happy. All right, let's see. So the most recent best finds and flips.
This huge estate sale that I went to, I went to the community, the one that was open to everybody, but then they let me go do the private pick. But I bought a ton. And so just, I think yesterday, I sold one of the plush that I got there for $269.95.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
So when you say vintage plush, is there a certain brand that you're looking for, or is it just the look of it being old?
Some of it can be the look. I like Eden, Dakin, Applause. Those are all, I mean, they're contemporary also, but I really like the ones. This particular brand was Chosun, which is another one I like to pick up, but I don't find a whole lot there. Everybody knows Rushton. I find Rushtons once in a while, but I've never found one of the high dollar ones.
Yeah.
People know Steiff, but even Steiff, just because you find a Steiff, you really need to do your research because they're still making them and they're not worth, some of them aren't worth very much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's lots. I mean, I even like the really old ones that look like you got them from the carnival. They're stiff and a lot of times they're discolored and most people wouldn't give them a time of day. But there is somebody out there who remembers winning that toy at a carnival and they want it. I sold a huge green frog. And the funny thing is I'm in a lot of the groups on Facebook that have like Lost Lovey type ones where you type about, the toy that you lost in your childhood. Well, this girl had just the sweetest story. And it ended up, I had that plush. It was big old, ugly, stiff green frog. And she sent me a video when she opened it. She just posted all about it.
How did you ship it that big?
It was big and she paid. I think I ended up shipping it UPS. But yeah, it was big. I don't like to sell the big stuff, but I won't not sell it if I find a really good one.
Yeah, exactly. There's something about plush. I got suckered into that pretty early on. Like you see it and you're just like, you want to give it a home. It's sad to see it sitting in the bins or about to make its way to the landfill. You want to save them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I've got bags of plush, and I keep saying I need to do a whatnot to move some of them, but I haven't done it yet. Do you do whatnot?
I just did my onboarding this week.
All right. They'll
So,
keep bugging you. I onboarded like 3, 4 weeks ago, and I'm getting constant emails from them like, you haven't done your first show. Are you gonna do your first show? Like, okay, give me a minute.
yeah, I'm starting to plan. I've got a few things set aside because I know
Yeah,
at first, I'm not going to make a whole lot of sales. So I'm just kind of thinking, okay, what are
that's
people going to
the way to
want?
do it. I think just pick out maybe 5. Like I see these 2 huge black, like huge garbage bags full. I'm like, no, I need to just pick out 5 and then just start with that. Because, like you said, how many people are going to actually be on there? Maybe what, 5 people if I'm lucky? So I
Right.
don't want to go through 2 huge bags for 2 hours for 5 people. So
Right.
yeah, start small. And then then it'll grow as more people are going. I think we've all been there and will again. Yes.
And again and again.
And again. All right. Speaking of great finds, share the story of the eyepiece you got in an estate sale.
Well, I got to give my husband credit because he's the one that found it. I had looked at it and didn't even pay attention, but we were at an estate sale, and I guess the person had been visually impaired, and there was this whole table full of equipment, just huge. So my husband picked up several pieces of it, but one of them was this little camera thing that fits on the side of your glasses, and it reads for the visually impaired. And we paid $5 for it and sold it, I think, in December for $2,000.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, we've still
That's
got
got
the
to go
rest of
under
it.
your best buy question that I had.
Yeah,
5
yeah,
into 2,000?
that was major for us. But I've got a
Wow.
few more pieces, but we want to test them. Like I said, electronic type stuff scares me because,
Yeah.
just I feel like I need to do my due diligence and test it all.
Yeah. True, true, true. But there's some stuff that you can only test so far. And like film cameras. I don't have film and I'm not going to go through a box of film for every single film camera. So I make sure the lens is clean. I open up where the film goes, make sure that's clean. I test the shutter, make sure it's making its noise, its click, it's not getting stuck. Test the flash. Like you can test until you can't test anymore, but there's still not going to be 100% because there's going to be stuff that you can't test. Like hearing aids. I've sold hearing aids before, and same thing. You can put all the description and like as far as you know it works and just take returns if it doesn't. But
Yeah.
I haven't really had any issues. Let's see. It's all the fun of reselling, a part of the ugly side at the same time. Yes.
Yes.
Ship by days. You mean the handling time? I do 1 day handling, 1 business day.
Definitely one day, especially if you can try to get into the plus. What is it?
Yeah.
Because
I
you
know
get
what you mean.
10%
Yeah.
back
Top
on your
rated.
fees.
Top rated?
Top rated
Is it top
plus.
rated?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only way you
Yep.
got to offer free returns, and you got to do the 1 day handling. But it's
Speaking of
worth
free
it.
returns, this goes under pet peeves. When you refund somebody because they didn't like the item or it wasn't the right length or whatever, it's a cheap item, I refunded him, you keep it, just dispose of it, and they ship it back to you. I don't want it. So now I paid the $5 to ship it to you, $5 to get this thing back. I'm now negative once you take out the fees. Like, I gave you your money. Just throw it away.
Yes. Yes. I've had
Like they
that
go out
happen.
of their way to ship it back to you out of spite. Like, rude. How many items list daily? Do you have a daily goal or just get what you can?
I try to do probably 20 to 30 a day. There was a time in my younger days, I usually used to do like 40 to 50. But I just, now with the YouTube channel and more sourcing and all of that. I just can't. But I don't list, I what I call processing first. Everything gets my pictures. I get it logged into a spreadsheet. It gets packed. It gets weighed. It gets put away. And then when I get up in the mornings, I sit and drink my coffee and I list about 20 or 25. And I just kind of keep doing it that way.
You said you pack it before you put it away, so it's already
I
boxed
bag
and ready to ship?
I put everything in bags. Everything is in bags here. I have a shop, it's got a heat pump in it, but it's still a shop. Once I've lint brushed and cleaned, I don't want the chance of anything getting it.
That's smart.
Or creepy crawlies, it's a building. So yeah, everything is bagged.
Genius. That is smart. I do not list as much. I'm lucky if I get 5 to 10 a day. There's some days there'll be more, and there's some days that'll be less, and there's days that I won't list any. But it depends on just how much time you have with having the 2 kids and trying to grow the YouTube channel and
yeah.
But I definitely can't get to 40 listings in a day. It does. It does. It's a lot of work being famous. But somebody's got to do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, bed bugs. Yeah, that scares me.
This is my comment. I get this comment a lot because I do plush. I am more concerned about getting bed bugs from the hotels that we stay in more than I have never in 24 years had an issue with bugs. I know, knock on wood, but I get the creepy crawlies every time we sit in a hotel room because you just, you hear those stories more than you hear. Yeah. So yeah, I don't
worry. Stuffed animal came with it. Yeah.
And why do they pick on stuffed animals? People get clothes and bedding, and
I bet they're more on bedding for sure, and clothing. I would think even second place. Plush would be like the last place.
Yeah,
I would think, but I don't know. I haven't asked a bed bug lately. My clothes and most of my items are in poly bags as well.
Yeah,
that's pretty smart. They can be in stuff. Yeah, that's true. But
yeah,
I mean, you take that risk anyway. Because how you couldn't prevent it. I mean, I guess you can come home and throw everything in the dryer and toast them all, but
you would ruin plush. Yeah, you'd ruin plush doing that. I don't have a concern. Like I said, I'm more worried about hotels than I ever am with my plush.
Good. All right. What would you say is your biggest obstacle you have to overcome juggling it all? You said your husband does a big majority of like the homeschooling and all of that. How do you help or make sure that you're there?
When my kids were little, it was tough. I trying to source with 3 little ones and, the weekends and trying to ship and all of that kind of stuff. But now, like I said, all of mine are grown up. My husband is amazing. He does most of the cooking. He does most of the cleaning. I'm left to
and that's how you get 40 listings or 20 plus listings a day.
It's like a job for me. When I'm down here, this is my basement and this is my work area. When I'm down here to work, and he pretty much makes sure that, everything else is taken care of for me.
That is awesome. Awesome teamwork for sure.
Definitely.
What would be, you've got the most experience of any reseller I think I've ever talked to. Linda Phillip, I think she was right around 20 years. So you might have her beat. So with the most experience, what is your number one tip that you wish everyone knew? And also the first reselling tip that you would tell a new reseller?
Let me think. For this one, I think you always hear people talking about, don't base your price on what things have been listed for. You got to go to the sold comps, yada, yada, yada. But I disagree, because you kind of got to do both. Because like I see lots of things being sold like it's a yard sale on eBay. For literally, I went and saw a store everything in their store was either 99 cents or $1 plus shipping.
Wow.
Everything. So you can't just base everything on sold comps. You need to.
Wow.
Terapeak is an amazing resource. Amazing.
Yep.
And you can go back 2 years, even though you can't really see the details of the older stuff.
I wish you could sell similar with Terapeak. So you
Yeah.
can't. You have to go and then find something that's kind of like it and then just change your details. But they need to sell similar inside Terapeak. That would be
Yes.
helpful.
Google Lens is your bestest friend for a lot of things. But again, it takes you to a screen that says, okay, it's selling for here on eBay and here. Don't just rely on that information. You do need to rely on some of the sold comps. So I think people get bogged down with doing the research on this stuff. Literally, I probably spend maybe 10 seconds researching stuff. Don't get bogged down in the details. Like when I'm looking up something, don't use a whole bunch of keywords. If you're looking at, I've got a zebra thing right here. Zebra, find out who the manufacturer is and start with that. And then when you get too much information, put another keyword in. Don't go for black bear, Dakin, 5-inch, whatever. Don't put all of those words in. So, just, keep the research quick and easy. If you get bogged down, go to one of these Facebook groups and ask for help.
Right. Absolutely. Great tip. So, how would you see your business growing in the future? On both, on YouTube and on eBay.
Probably, Whatnot. Whatnot is going to be my next little thing that I'm going to try because, I use List Perfectly. I'm on 4 platforms. Everything starts on eBay, and then I cross list to Etsy, Poshmark, and Mercari. I was doing Facebook Marketplace. That's a dud. I was doing Bonanza. I had too many issues with them.
Okay.
So
Does everything get cross-listed, or do you kind of pick and choose? And how do you keep track of the ones that you pick and chose?
I'm former military, and I was an inventory manager in the military. I love the custom SKU box. Love that box. I have codes in there. I put when it got listed, what its item number is for my inventory, what bin it's in, and then if I've cross-listed it, it's got an M for Mercari, E for Etsy, P for Poshmark. So use your custom SKU. That's big.
Okay, that is the best tip of the night. So the only thing I ever use that SKU for is my box number. Okay, it's in box P1, it's in Q2. Okay, yes. I never put more details. Like the cross-listing note is genius because you can change that anytime. After it's listed, you can go in and, okay, now I'm going to put these shoes on Mercari. Just go over there and put a -M. Okay, I could sleep happy tonight because that was the best tip ever.
Use that block for anything and everything. If you're storing it in your bedroom closet, type that in, but be consistent with how you use it because you can actually sort on them. That's how I do my inventory, is I sort out that bin in the custom SKU, and then I can go to that bin and everything that should be in there is there. If it's not, eBay's dropped it or it's accidentally got put in a different bin, just use it. Be consistent.
Yeah, and I think it's even case sensitive, isn't it? So if you did like Q1 and then a lowercase Q1, it's not going to find it. I've had that issue before.
I don't remember. I'm very consistent. I'm very consistent.
So definitely be consistent. If you're going to do your letters, like my boxes are all just initial and a number if I've had too many of that letter. But if I go and do a lowercase Q1 and a big Q1 and I try to do that SKU search, it won't find all of the other one. So you want to make sure that you keep it matching, keep it consistent.
Yep. And I have 10,000 listings. So it's very,
holy smokes.
Yeah. I'm a very large volume seller. So it's
Wow.
got
So
to
how many
stay organized.
sales do you do a day usually?
Right now, right now it's terrible. Probably 12 to 15 to 20 maybe, and then some on the others. But, there's right now it is slow and eBay's got problems. I'm a true believer. They're messing with stuff, and that's why you can't keep everything in one platform. I don't have that many on the other platforms. I do pick and choose, but by fourth quarter, I plan on having a whole lot more on the other platforms.
And you said List Perfectly. You like that
I
one
use
the
List-
most? Have you tried any others?
I've tried the Flip, I've tried Venmo, and I've tried, I think there was one more. Well, I'll say Robert tried. Robert is my gopher. He does all of the things I don't want to do.
Yay, Robert.
And then then I'll watch what he's doing and I'm like, no, that's not going to work. But yes, I love List Perfectly.
I need to use that one. I was using Flip, and the thing that it's so time consuming because you've already put the time into listing it on eBay, and then when you go into Flip and you try to list it over to say Mercari, you're putting all those details all over again. So it's double the time per item when you're cross listing. So is List Perfectly any easier, or you're still double doing?
No, if you use the Pro plan, which it is a little, expensive. I think it's $60 or $70 a month. But when I transfer something to Mercari, it fills in everything. Sometimes I have to double check the shipping because Mercari wants to put in their recommended weight. But if I just click on it, it tells me what my weight was, and then I can adjust it however I want. But it usually, once in a while, it'll make me do the categories. But for the most part, it fills it in for me. Everything goes all the way through easy. Poshmark, I think the only thing I have to do is the category. And then, that original price and stuff like that. I mean, it is quick. It's very quick.
All right, I'm gonna have to try it for sure. Because I was putting in those shoes. I had a bunch of shoes I was trying to cross list over to Mercari, and it wanted the color, it wanted the size, it wanted the European size, it wanted like I've already put this in, so it's just like I said, double the work, and you're having to go back and forth to make sure you're putting in the right information. And I'm like, this isn't efficient. I'll just sit and wait for it to sell on eBay.
No, it puts all if you've got your color in your title, which that's another thing, make sure you have all of those pertinent keywords in your title. It automatically pulls it into the listing for you.
Genius. I am learning so much from you, Rebel. This is a win. Custom SKU looks like this. Okay, so 2306, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the year and month that I listed it.
There you go.
Each thing in our inventory is given. So this is number 12,341 item I've listed since I started these. That's my bin 142A, and then P means it's on Poshmark.
Wow. You can almost have a side business doing people's inventory.
It's funny. I've talked about that before, or going in and helping people do their inventories. But yeah, that would take away all my fun.
That wouldn't be fun. No, that would definitely be a boring job, but I'm sure it would pay really well because people need that service. Because my one little Q1 in my SKU doesn't always work very well. It drives my husband crazy because he usually picks my orders for me, and there's probably at least 2 or 3 times a week we can't find the item, and that's our favorite. And it's like usually a remote or something small, and we're then one box at a time digging through 1,000+ item store trying to find that item because I was distracted or I forgot to put it in. But when you have a system like this, you can't forget. There's so many different numbers that it has to become routine that you can't forget. For me to put one little Q1, it's easy to forget versus a full on inventory. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Diversify. Yes, for sure.
Definitely.
We don't source our items in the list perfectly or store our items. It's not fast enough for the delete and relist that we do every month.
Yes, I'm one of those crazy people. Nothing rolls over on eBay. I end it and do sell similar on all 10,000 listings every single month.
No way. So you're doing that daily then, right? Because it's a
Daily.
rolling month.
Yep. About 300 to 400 a day. But in bulk edit, it's easy. It's quick. I end 100. You go into your unsolds. You click sell similar. You can tweak it if you want. Right now, I'm actually reducing the price on all of my old inventory. And so
I've been doing that through Markdown. So
Yep.
my older than a year is like 30% off, and older than 6 months is 20%. So I've been doing it that way, but I haven't done the bulk deletes.
Yep.
But that keeps things active.
It keeps them fresh, and it really does make stuff sell that's been sitting there stagnant for a while. But I started this when eBay had that problem like a year and a half ago during fourth quarter, and I've kept with it. I highly recommend it, especially if your sales are slow, to go in, and it's one of the things you can do. I don't say you have to be crazy like me and do it every single month.
Right.
But at this point, I'm afraid not to. You know what I mean? I've done it for so long.
If it's working, don't change it.
Exactly. But yeah, we don't use the List Perfectly catalog because I do end, and you lose those connections to the other platforms if you're doing it that way. But
so how does that work then? If you're ending it on eBay, it's then still staying over on Mercari and all the cross.
But if you had everything in the List Perfectly catalog, you would lose those links, because it's convenient if you didn't have a huge store like me to have everything in List Perfectly, because they have buttons and magic that you can click a button and it'll unlist it from all the other platforms. If you want
that could be your starting point, is straight into List Perfectly, and that'll do it to everywhere. But you're saying it's better to start in eBay and
for
then
me,
yeah,
at this level, because it would take years for me to get my inventory over into List Perfectly.
No, that'd have to be something you just start just one day. Okay, I'm going to start. Today is the day I'm listing through List Perfectly. But no, I like what you're saying. I think that makes sense to start in one platform and then just use them to pass it over.
Yep.
All right, we got a couple more questions. List Perfectly came in handy when I accidentally deleted a group of items. Was able to download them back into eBay.
Yep.
There you go.
If you've got them in the catalog. And I accidentally deleted 100 listings recently, which wasn't fun.
Oh, yeah, that's not good. What are your thoughts on ending and sell similar every 90 days versus 30 for Google search?
I've thought about moving to that, and I might next year, just to see if I still see a difference, because I see somebody else has written in the chat that they heard that you don't get Google searches. Well, I've had a friend check. I had a friend go into Google and look for a specific items that she knew I had listed, and they're there. They're there after a couple of days. So I don't think that that's a true statement.
All right, it's been debunked. There you go. Rebel accidentally deleted 100 items, slowly cleaning it up, download our inventory into a spreadsheet every week.
Yeah.
Wow. Ouch.
Prevent Rebel from being distracted. Now he downloads my inventory for me.
Smart. Absolutely smart. All right. Unless anybody has any more questions, we're now at the top of the hour. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Rebel for being here, for her husband for being here, and just learning so much from you guys. I'm definitely going to be using the SKU a lot more, that custom SKU. And I'm going to check out the plans on List Perfectly, because if it's better than Flip, I think I'm gonna try that. So definitely thank you, Rebel. I'm sure a lot of you guys came from her channel, but if not, make sure to go over to the Rebel Reseller and subscribe to her channel. And I can't wait to have you on again, Rebel. This was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. And yes, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who came to watch. And I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.